Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. So, you might be wondering, what does a massive, multi-million-dollar film set actually have in common with a single tiny paragraph of text? Well, today, we're breaking exactly that down. We're going to see how just a few dense lines of super specific language can construct this massive, totally immersive visual blueprint. Let's get right into how language literally dictates reality.
We kick things off with just three little words: Dawn of War. Right out of the gate, boom, it sets this crazy tone of high energy and massive historical scale, right? I mean, it's not just some random battle we're talking about here. It's the dawn of one. It perfectly captures that deep, tense breath right before the plunge, giving us a really solid conceptual anchor before we've even seen a single image.
Okay, let's dive right into our source text. Take a look at this absolute unit of a sentence. This single, continuous string of words acts as a flawless architectural plan for a whole cinematic world. Seriously, look at how much heavy lifting these words are doing. Every single comma separates a highly calculated instruction, weaving together the subject, the environment, and the camera technique into one seamless package. So, we're going to deconstruct this massive prompt piece by piece.
Section 1. The epic subject. The core foundation of the scene.
All right, so our foundation here is built on an instantly recognizable force, dropped right into a massive, wide-open natural canvas. Just by specifying the Roman Empire army, the text immediately conjures up this vivid imagery in our heads, doesn't it? You've got the heavy metal plating, standardized weaponry, and this vibe of total rigid discipline. And by placing them on vast hills, it gives them a limitless theater to operate in. They aren't boxed into some tight valley. They are absolutely dominating an open horizon.
To really drive home that scale, the text specifically demands thousands of soldiers in formation. That one single word tells us right away that we're not looking at some minor little skirmish. This is a full-scale mobilization. Just imagine the sheer geometry of it all. Thousands of troops locked into strict interlocking formations. It literally turns human beings into this massive, moving architectural structure. Now, what's really fascinating here is the stark contrast between that sprawling, massive subject and the intimate, tiny details. Think about it. If you only have macro elements like thousands of soldiers on hills, the whole scene feels kind of distant, almost like you're just looking down at a map. But by forcing in these micro elements, like the dust kicking up under their boots or the glints of light flashing off their metal armor, the text basically ensures that you, the viewer, feel physically present right there in the dirt.
Moving right along to Section 2, Atmosphere and Environment, adding sensory texture.
By locking in the time of day as exactly sunrise, the text triggers every filmmaker's absolute favorite tool, the golden hour. Visually, that low-angle sunlight cutting straight across the hills is going to cast these incredibly long, dramatic shadows. Plus, it transforms thousands of polished shields into shimmering, blinding points of light. It takes what could be a pretty bleak, standard military march and turns it into a totally glowing spectacle.
And this setup brilliantly illustrates how sensory details really go to work. We aren't just watching the army, we're feeling the environment react to them. Having the banners waving in a slow wind dictates this very measured, deliberate pacing. And the dust rising gives the army actual, literal weight. It tells us the ground is dry, throwing up this gritty haze that perfectly complements that warm, golden sunlight.
All right, on to our final layer, Section 3, Technical Camera Movements, the Cinematic Lens.
So here's the absolute crucial point. This text explicitly forbids us from looking away. Pairing the phrase cinematic long take with no cuts completely changes the psychology of the entire scene. Instead of jumping around between different perspectives, you're locked in, real time. It builds up this relentless rhythm that perfectly mimics the unstoppable, heavy march of the soldiers themselves.
Notice how this carefully builds a precise geographic path for the virtual camera to follow. We start off super intimately, right down in the dirt at ground level. You're practically choking on the dust and hearing the heavy crunch of marching boots. But then the camera, slowly tracking upward, acts as this massive grand reveal. It physically elevates the viewer from the grit straight up into the macro scale of the entire legion. And it does it all without a single blink.
These specific parameters act as incredibly strict technical guardrails, totally locking in the final style. Ultra-realistic, epic scale, smooth motion, no cuts, immersive atmosphere. The author is leaving absolutely zero room for misinterpretation here. It can't be stylized. It has to be realistic. The camera can't be all shaky and chaotic. It has to be perfectly smooth. It's basically a checklist that guarantees the final execution perfectly matches the initial ambition.
Every single descriptive phrase we've unpacked today, from the thousands of soldiers and that stunning golden hour lighting, all the way down to the deliberate lack of camera cuts, it all culminates in this final, ultimate goal of total viewer absorption, an immersive atmosphere. The goal here isn't just to show you an army, right? The goal is to literally transport you to that vast hill, to make you feel the slow wind on your face, make you squint against the golden sunlight, and actually feel the deep vibration of the march right in your chest. That is the true power of a meticulously crafted blueprint.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one thought. Does the ultimate cinematic experience actually begin with the camera, or does it begin with the perfect sequence of words? It's a pretty staggering reminder that the true foundation of great visual media is and always will be exceptional writing. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today, and hey, keep an eye out for how words shape the worlds you see every single day.